sound of a podcast studio fades in. Welcome back to News and Books. I'm Eric, and today we're diving into a topic that's both mysterious and vital: black boxes. You know, those nearly indestructible devices that survive even the worst aviation disasters. But what makes them so tough? How do they withstand fire, impact, water, even the deep ocean? To help us unpack all that, I'm joined by someone who knows these devices inside and out. Captain Cairo is here with me in the studio, an experienced airline captain and safety expert. Captain, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Eric. It's great to be here. Black boxes really are one of aviation's greatest engineering achievements, and I'm excited to talk about how they're built to survive just about anything.
Perfect, let's get started. Let's start with the basics, Captain Cairo. When people say black box, what exactly are they talking about?
Great question, Eric. In aviation, black box actually refers to two devices: the Flight Data Recorder, or FDR, and the Cockpit Voice Recorder, or CVR.
So the FDR and CVR, what do they each do?
The FDR logs hundreds of flight parameters: altitude, speed, engine data, and more. The CVR records cockpit conversations, alarms, and audio cues, usually the last 30 to 120 minutes.
And why are they called black boxes if they're not actually black?
It's a bit of a misnomer. They're painted bright orange, so they're easier to find after a crash, but the name black box stuck from early days of aviation.
And after an accident, how are these recorders actually found?
Search teams look for the bright orange color, and sometimes use underwater locator beacons. Recovery can be tough, but these devices are built to survive almost anything.
Captain Cairo, when we talk about black boxes, people often wonder, why do they have to be so indestructible? What makes their survival so critical after a crash?
That's a great question, Eric. In many accidents, the aircraft itself is destroyed, sometimes burned, submerged, or shattered beyond recognition. But investigators still need answers. That's why black boxes are designed to survive when everything else is lost.
So, what kinds of extreme conditions do they have to endure?
They must withstand incredible forces, like high-impact deceleration, sometimes hundreds of times the force of gravity. They also have to survive intense fires, over 1,000 degrees Celsius, often for many minutes at a time. If a plane crashes into the ocean, black boxes face deep water and crushing pressure, sometimes miles below the surface. And they must resist corrosive environments, like salt water or even acids, that could destroy ordinary electronics.
It sounds like they're the last witnesses left after a disaster. Captain Cairo, let's get technical. What makes black boxes so incredibly tough?
Great question, Eric. It all starts with the materials. Titanium or hardened steel for the outer shell, designed to resist crushing forces and impacts.
And what's inside that shell? How do the electronics survive?
Inside, you'll find layers of thermal insulation, shock mounts, and heat-resistant ceramics. These protect the memory modules from fire and violent shocks.
So even if the outside is damaged, the data can still be safe?
Exactly. The internal components are decoupled from the outer case, so even if the housing deforms, the data is often preserved.
What about extreme heat? Plane crashes can cause fires hotter than 1,000 degrees Celsius.
Black boxes are tested in flames exceeding 1,100 degrees for at least 30 minutes. Fire-resistant materials and phase-change insulation keep the memory cool enough to survive.
And if the wreckage ends up underwater?
The units are sealed to withstand deep-sea pressures, certified to survive at depths over 6,000 meters. Some even have underwater locator beacons that send out pings to help search teams.
What about the memory itself? How is the data protected?
The memory modules are solid-state or specially shielded chips, built to resist shock, heat, and even corrosion. There's also redundancy and error correction to ensure the data survives.
So it's a combination of tough materials, smart engineering, and rigorous testing.
That's right. All these features together mean black boxes can survive scenarios where the rest of the aircraft is destroyed. They're the ultimate survivors.
Captain Cairo, let's talk about black box certification. What kind of regulatory standards do these devices have to meet?
Great question, Eric. Aviation authorities like the FAA, EASA, and ICAO set strict requirements. Every black box must pass a series of demanding tests before it's approved for use. These tests are designed to make sure the recorders can survive the worst possible conditions.
What kinds of tests are involved? Could you walk us through some examples?
Absolutely. First, there's the impact test. The black box is crushed between heavy plates to simulate a crash. Then, fire tests, where the unit is exposed to extreme heat for a set period. Each test checks a different aspect of survivability. There are also immersion tests. The recorder is submerged in water, salt, or chemicals to check for leaks and corrosion resistance.
That sounds intense. Are there any other tests they have to pass?
Yes, there are more. Penetration tests fire projectiles at the unit. Vibration and shock tests simulate turbulence and sudden impacts. Only the toughest recorders make it through all of these. It's a rigorous process.
So, if a black box passes all these tests, it's certified for real-world use?
Exactly. And as technology advances, the standards keep getting tougher. The goal is always to make sure these devices can tell the story, no matter what happens. That's why black boxes are so reliable, even in the most extreme situations.
This next segment is about the real-world events that shaped black box design. Captain Cairo, let's talk about some of the most influential accidents in aviation history. What accidents led to major changes or innovations in black box technology?
That's a great question, Eric. Several accidents have directly influenced how black boxes are built and tested. For example, the Biak de Havilland comet disasters in the 1950s revealed the need for better accident investigation tools. While those early crashes weren't solved by black boxes, they inspired the aviation industry to develop flight recorders and prioritize safety data. In the 1970s and 80s, there were several accidents where recorders were recovered badly burned or damaged. These incidents led to stricter standards for thermal protection and durability, making black boxes even more resilient. A more recent example is Air France Flight 447 in 2009. After the crash over the Atlantic, the black boxes were eventually recovered from deep underwater. This allowed investigators to understand the sequence of events, and it led to improvements in underwater locator beacons and deep-sea recovery methods. In the last decade, there have been crashes where the aircraft was almost completely destroyed, but the black boxes still provided crucial data. These cases prove just how vital and robust these devices have become. Each accident teaches us something new. As a result, black box design continues to evolve, always aiming to protect the story of every flight.
As we look to the future, let's talk about the limits of black boxes and what might come next. Captain Cairo, are black boxes truly foolproof, or do they have weaknesses?
That's a great question, Eric. Black boxes are incredibly robust, but they aren't invincible. If a crash is so severe that the recorder is exposed to extreme fire or total disintegration, it can still fail. And the underwater locator beacons? Their batteries only last about 30 days. If recovery teams can't find the box in time, it may be lost forever, especially in deep or remote oceans.
So even with all that engineering, there are still some risks. What are the most promising ideas for the future?
Looking ahead, we're seeing some exciting trends. One is streaming flight data directly to the ground in real time. So even if the box is lost, the data survives in the cloud. Another is deployable recorders that can detach and float or eject on impact, making them easier to recover. And of course, new materials and sensors are being developed to make black boxes even tougher.
It's amazing to see how technology keeps pushing the boundaries. Thanks for breaking that down, Captain Cairo. Captain Cairo, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you for sharing your insights and stories about black boxes. It's incredible to think how these orange boxes help us learn and move forward after every incident.
Thank you, Eric. It's always an honor to talk about aviation safety. Black boxes may be silent, but their stories make a difference for everyone who flies.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. We'd love to hear what aviation topic you want us to explore next. Until next time, stay curious and keep your head in the clouds.